You're listening to The Sports Fix.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by Harry Buffalo. Catch every UFC pay-per-view live in full HD at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted, just outside Great Northern Mall. Harry Buffalo. Join the herd.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix CLE. It's that simple.
Twitter.com/TheSportsFixCLE, baby.
Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today, The Sports Fix on social media, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix CLE. Join The Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
Hey, it's Hugh Hewitt, and when I want to know what's going on with the Cavs, the Browns, and the Tribe, I tune into Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
Here we are. We are on the air. We are. I'll tell you what. I wasn't sure if we were going to get on the air this morning. Not for any particular reason. It was a busy morning. A huge busy weekend. We're going to get into that. We got a ton of stuff. I mean, this was the good, the bad, the ugly, the fun, the not so fun. There was a whole lot of sports going on this weekend to talk about. But man, this morning just boom, 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 one thing after another, and then one of those. You've been there, done that, so you're not as razzled when things go wrong. I think it was about 11:53, so about just a few minutes before we go up live here at noon Eastern time, something goes haywire in the computer, and I'm like, all right, well, I have to reboot this thing now, because if I don't, we're locked in, and things are going to go really bad. So it was one of those mornings, but not just that. I mean, I had some interviews and some meetings going on this morning. A lot of things going on behind the scenes, and look forward to talking and sharing some of that with you guys here as things happen. But hey, let's roll. It's Monday. You're feeling good. Don't feel good by yourself. Tell somebody else to get in here with us too, because we're going to do it like hopefully only we can do it here on the Sports Fix. So welcome in, you guys, as we get rolling. I'm going to get the phone lines cracked here in a minute. We'll get this Monday show rolling here. Sit tight, everybody. I'm just kind of getting the gears grinding. Welcome into the Sports Fix. Those of you tuning in, whether it's your first time today or you're here each and every weekday live at noon across the Sports Fix radio network, welcome in one and all. Thank you so much for being with us. As I said, a ton of things to talk about from this weekend, and we'll get into all of that here in just a moment, you guys. This is the Sports Fix. I am the host, the big daddy on the microphone, as I've been coined, the conductor and the coordinator of the madness here on the Sports Fix, Jared Myers, J-Rock, whatever you want to call me. Just call me. Happy to be here on a Monday. I see Charles, Victory Monday, multiple places, although nobody wanted to make it easy on us this weekend at all. You know, like I said, the good, the bad, the ugly, and there was all of that stuff, man. It was a great baseball, college football. It was a great NFL week. I mean, there's a ton of stuff to get into. I'm going to open the phone line. Sit tight over there, you guys. I'm going to open the phones in just a minute, I promise. Anyways, welcome in across the Sports Fix radio network. Maybe that means you're listening live on TuneIn and TuneIn's radio app worldwide. Perhaps you're one of the thousands listening on Spreaker and Mixler and their respective mobile applications. Speaking of Spreaker, that's one of those cool things that I hope to be able to tell you guys about here, our program. Much like about a year ago, I told you guys we were selected by the ownership of Spreaker, which is a podcast development program, much like Podcast One. Spreaker is one of the bigger ones of those, like iHeartRadio and that. So anyways, they reached out to us last year. They made us curated content, which means we're one of the featured programs on their network. They recommend people. It makes it much easier for us to attract in people that don't know we exist. It's great. It's a great thing on our end, no risk. But anyways, they selected us. They also hand-selected us to go on iHeartRadio last year. So once again, an opportunity has come up to be part of a national thing with the Spreaker brand, and they've also, again, selected our program to be a part of this. So that'll be cool, and hopefully it grows some cool opportunities for us. I'll tell you guys more about that, but welcome in if you're listening on Spreaker. And, of course, everybody listening on our one-stop shop, baby, for all things Cleveland sports and the Sports Fix. It is thesportsfix.net, and thank you guys for being with us as well. Thousands of you around the world on digital delay on iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio provider. Maybe you're listening 24/7 on iTunes. You download us there on Stitcher Radio and CarPlay and all the different SoundCloud, all the different podcast formats, however you download us. Thank you guys for being with us. I'm telling you, last month, when the month of October wraps up, I'll give you the official total. But, I mean, and I don't get this as much as anybody else, but 27 countries, 114 cities and counting in the last 30 days that somebody has downloaded and tuned into an episode of the Sports Fix. Pretty amazing. And downloads are different than just listens, because I always say listens could be an accidental click. I know cell phones are funny. I never get too caught up in that type of it. But downloads are different because you actually have to go out of your way to do it. So that's a much more definitive number and amazing. I mean, 27. I'm telling you, Cleveland, you guys travel all over the place, man. I mean, your jobs may send you around the world, but your heart sits back here in Cleveland. So thank you guys so much for being with us. Let's open up the phones. Let's do what we do. I want you to be a part of the show. 216-539-7535 is the number to call. 216-539-7535. Pick up the phone. Give us a call. If you can't get to the phones, use Facebook and Twitter and email. Facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at the SportsFix CLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. Bruce, don't even start that garbage in the chat room. If you can't wipe out a garbage team, it makes you just as bad. Well, what do you got to say about Seattle? What do you got to say about the Seahawks? Because they got rolled by the Rams a couple weeks ago, and the Rams, in turn, not a juggernaut. Not a juggernaut at all. Listen, man, in today's NFL, you know what? I'm going to get into that point in a minute. Browns won an ugly game yesterday. Nobody here trying to tell you otherwise. But listen, do you not look at the scores each week in the NFL? Have you not seen that more than any time in the past, the NFL is a week-to-week matchup league, more than I've ever seen in my life. Yesterday, by the way, a great slate of games outside of the Browns and their game. I mean, there was just a ton of excitement. Look at the Lions. First team ever, back-to-back weeks. And this is all, it's like the Browns storming back earlier in the season. A lot of it tied into the elevated offense, which makes these things easier to happen. Rams, 14 back and then 21 back yesterday. Storm back and do it. 400-yard quarterbacks. It's the first time it's ever been done in NFL history, but that to me is a stat that's a perfect snapshot of the times that we live in. Of course, I bet you within 5 years you'll have 4 500-yard quarterbacks in the same Sunday. By the way, Ben Roethlisberger. And for everybody that wants to discount the way the Browns played against the Steelers played pretty well against the Colts, and last I checked, everybody thinks the Colts are one of the better teams in the AFC, too. I'm just saying. Look at that game alone. They wiped the floor with Andrew Luck and the Colts. And this is the same Steelers team that people said, well, they got beat by the Browns, so obviously they're not that good. And, man, that Ravens-Bengals game, we'll talk about it. How about the end of that Ravens and Bengals game with Cincinnati 2 weeks out, looming for the Browns here coming up? But man, Steve Smith, the offensive pass interference, I watched him catch it. I said, man, he's going to do to Cincinnati. That's what a guy like Steve Smith does. They do it to the Browns too, man. No time left in the game. How in the world do you let Steve Smith not only catch that ball, but then get to the end zone? Luckily, the offensive pass interference, because not always is a flag going to be thrown in that situation, but gets it called back. I watched him juke and jimmy his way through to the end zone. I said, nobody's going to catch him. Steve Smith is about to beat the Bengals after the Bengals just came all the way back down and got that score right before that. Referee called it off, and that changed it. And I'll tell you what, Charles in the chat room, we're going to talk about all the football with John McMullen when he joins us here in a little bit, just about 25, 30 minutes from now. Absolutely. Green Bay and New Orleans last night, another one tied at 16 at the half, and then the Saints. The Saints are a different team in the dome and out. That's all there is to it. The Saints are a completely different I swear I think the Saints could go 8-0 at home and 0-8 on the road and be a 500 team. They're so Jekyll and Hyde. But yeah, they stormed back yesterday, and Rodgers dodges a bullet there perhaps by not being as more injured than it looks like he is there, able to stay in there and even able to run a little bit down at the end of that game. But yeah, great games. We'll talk about that. The Buckeyes, I mean, they look like they're set to roll, and then next thing you know, they look like they're set to lose. And in overtime, a lot of stuff going on. Monsters had an up and down. They were part of the ugly part of the weekend too, along with that Browns victory. Their World Series, some great games. Madison, Bumgardner, my goodness, man, doing some stuff that's never been done before. As a matter of fact, his game last night, I overheard a stat. First time ever, complete game, shutout, no walks, 8 strikeouts or more in a World Series game. Nobody's ever done that before. I mean, he's just on another level. He's going to go down as one of the great World Series pitchers of all time, just off of this performance here, let alone what he's done in the past. But man, amazing. And he's got the Giants sitting just one victory away. But hey, that's the hardest victory to get. And you can bet that Kansas City and the city of Kansas City and those players and that team, they're not going quietly into that silent night. You know what I'm saying? And Hunter Pence, wow, what a game. They just up back and forth all weekend. Some great baseball this weekend. There's great college football, great NFL games, man. We'll talk about all of this here as the show rolls on. I'm going to crack the phone lines here and let you guys decide which way we're going to kick off the show. But quickly, too, while we're talking about baseball, I would be remiss. I don't even want to wait until the end of the show, man. What a tragic story, you guys, if you haven't heard the story coming out of the Dominican Republic. Oscar Taveras, the outfielder, just came up this year. I believe he was number 3 rated prospect by Baseball America in all of baseball's farm systems. Young 22-year-old outfielder for the Cardinals gets in a fatal car accident back in the Dominican Republic, and on the highway he got into an accident, lost control of his car, and his girlfriend also died in the accident, both of them there. He made his major league debut this season, but you just hate to look, even if he wasn't a baseball player. The only reason we're mentioning it is because he's a baseball player, but it's anytime somebody 22 years old, that's a shame. Anybody with all of life in front of them like that, and the opportunity, you never know, opportunity to do whatever. And he could have been Oscar Taveras, the future brain surgeon. It would have been just as tragic as if he's the baseball player. But man, it's just you never know. And that stuff, man, that lets you know just how here today, gone tomorrow life is. You, me, everybody listening, the guys on the phones right now waiting on hold, just like that. Just like that, man. Just keep that in mind always. I have to remind myself of that all the time, too, because stories like that bring you back down, And anyway, so my thoughts and prayers obviously out to the family of both Oscar Taveras and his girlfriend, who both passed away in that accident. That's the hardest thing. And, man, it's even tougher when it's so young. That's the thing. It's I don't want to say it's easy. It's not easy to deal with when anybody dies, but man, there's a big difference when somebody passes away at 82 and 22, brother. That's for sure. So definitely our thoughts and prayers out to him. You know what? I'm going to stop right there. I'm done talking. I've given you the phone numbers and the emails and all that, so I'm going to let you do it. You know what? I'm going to get paid, but I'm going to let you do the hard work here. You go ahead and start the heavy lifting on the Sports Fix. Caller, you're kicking things off.
J-Rock Daddy.
LG, baby. What's up, my man?
J-Rock Daddy, I wish I was in that studio with you just like the old days so you could reach over and punch me right in the face so I can feel if this is real, baby.
You feeling good
come
today?
On, man. We got just as many wins in the 2014 season as we had in the entire NFL season last year for the Cleveland Browns, and I can't believe I can't believe that I wake up this morning and I see a slew of people bitching about taking Brian Hoyer off the field and putting an unproven Johnny Manziel in. Are you kidding me, J-Rod Daddy?
I knew that was
coming.
coming.
This guy is rated number 16 out of all the quarterbacks rated. I mean, come on. He's not the top of the list. He's one spot behind Colin Kaepernick from the San Francisco 49ers. Now, people know the